Hello again, everyone. Thanks for joining us and welcome inside another edition, episode number 32 of the Adam Jones podcast. Still wearing that Lakers jersey. He is the former five-time All-Star Adam Jones. I'm just Jerry Coleman. Appreciate you being here. Today, we continue our conversation with the Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh, plus another sterling edition of Socially Speaking, where we answer one of your questions via Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can find us on all three platforms at Adam Jones Pod. That's Adam Jones Pod. Of course, there's an at before that. And make sure to rate our podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That way you qualify for a Miss Shirley's gift card. And we continue our conversation with the coach.
I want to ask something that you get flack over a lot. 2-point conversions over the GOAT. Now, we can tell him the GOAT. There's a lot of GOATs. But you and Joe Judge, the only special teams coaches, coordinators to be head coaches, and you got to work under the great Andy Reid for such a long time, and you got to work with David Akers, such a great kicker, for such a long time.
Obviously, Adam did his homework. Adam did some homework.
Working special teams means you're a personnel guy. You know everybody. Literally everybody. You have to know everybody. Right. Just obviously you going into drafting, Tucker, with your special teams knowledge, you love the sport. You love the 2-point conversion. You love it. I love it. We all love it. But just talk about the special teams and your journey. Being from special teams to personnel to you, the head coach. You get to run everybody with knowing everybody, opposed to not being a coordinator. You get to go run full shot.
Yeah, that's good. Really good insight. A lot of layers to the question. It's such a good question. I feel like just from that aspect of it, every coach has their different path or a different way, and you got to become a head coach based on hopefully your ability to coach, your success, and then projecting your ability to do the job, which is a head coaching job, which is a unique job. It's different. So, being good at one aspect of coaching doesn't necessarily say you're going to be good at another aspect or not good. It really doesn't. There's unique skill sets for every type of a job. And if you look at Steve Bisciotti in terms of his hirings, and then you look at Jeffrey Lurie, look at the coaches he's hired, you kind of see that, I think. But for me, I was always coming up feeling oh man, I'm falling behind because I'm not a quarterback coach or I'm not an offensive line guy. When you get to be an expert, you move up fast when you're younger in those ranks. But a lot of those guys end up being kind of one-dimensional and they kind of stall out. And I was always the guy who was coaching everything. I coached offense, defense, special teams. I pretty much coached every position except quarterbacks. And my brother's a quarterback, so I guess I could count that too. Not really, but I'll take it. But the point is that as I look back on it and I see, okay, this was God's plan. This is what he had in mind. By exposing me to all these different aspects of the game as an assistant coach, he was preparing me for this opportunity that he had in store, I believe, back when. And now you draw on all those experiences and just try to apply them to, what you meet every day in the job. So I'm just very grateful for the background, special teams, defense, and offense, So for me, Adam, I'm pretty much a defense and special teams centered coach because that's where I spent my time in the NFL. And that's where I have probably the deepest, most intricate knowledge of the schemes itself. But I've been on offense enough, and now as a head coach, I've been around enough to know what I believe our offense needs to look like based on the players we have. Hold the coaches accountable as much as possible, give them ideas where needed, but I'm not too hands-on with the offensive game planning or play calling, and trust those guys to do it. And I'm really excited about Todd Monken because I really think, I like the way he builds the offense. It's very artistic, okay? It's not so much blueprint-like. It's very more artistic, free-flowing, and I think that's going to really fit Lamar really well. So I'm excited about that part of it and what he's putting in. As far as the 2-point stuff, I'll tell you, there's a bunch of those I want back. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Because when you don't get them, it's but other times we got them, it's oh, you're a hero, So,
of course.
But I feel a couple of times there, the 2 years ago and we didn't get them, I was kind of playing to the fact that we were underdogs. I didn't have as much confidence, to be honest with you, that we were going to win in overtime or that we were going to get them stopped on the next series in the case of the Packers game. I just felt like this is our shot. Let's try to win it right now. This was our best chance to win. And then I felt like we could get the 2-point reasonably well. But it all comes down to 4th downs Yeah, I know the analytics are part of it, but that's overblown to me. Yes, we look at it, but do you think you're going to get it? And does it give you the best chance to win the game? And it's still a gut decision at the end. Now, I'll say this, and maybe I'm throwing the beans here. With the team that we've got coming in this year, it's probably going to be a little more conservative this year, because I do think we're going to have the kind of team like we had toward the end of last year that is going to be able to punt him back down in there, get him stopped, keep him in there, finish the drive, or kick the field goal, tie the game, win in overtime if you have to. I just, that's my instinct about the way it's going to go. And maybe also being stung a couple times, Adam, like we all were, the fact that we lost those games. I got to be honest. I mean, yeah, you do remember that, right? So that's just being human.
Right.
All right, we're going to get to the baseball shortly. A few more football questions for you, Coach, though, as I see you eye the clock in the corner.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see you. Everyone can see you. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, wherever. Real quickly, though, it was just announced you're going to hold this joint practice with the Washington football team. In the past, I thought you said maybe you were going to stop doing those due to the litany of injuries. What changed your thinking this year around?
Well, we've done about 5 of those, and they've been really successful, except for the Carolina one, for whatever reason. Bad luck, I don't know. But that was a bad camp for us. It wasn't just that practice, but I guess probably I felt snake bit by it last year, and I decided we changed all of our training camp last year, completely reformed everything we've ever done in training camp. So, I didn't want to practice against another team and kind of mess with that tempo, and I didn't feel good about the year before. This year, it's already been reformed. We have we know what we want to do in training camp with our work rest ratios and all that. And I know Ron really well. I really trust Ron, and I feel like we're going to be able to put together a really good 2-day session. And I think we're going to need it because honestly, also Jerry, we're not really planning on playing our veterans as much. We didn't play them at all last year, and certainly not this year as much as we had over the. Like you said, things change. So I really want to get that work against another team in practice and then in controlled environment. So that's pretty much our thinking on it.
You're going to try that? You guys going to incorporate that butt fumble? I mean, not the butt fumble. The butt push.
Yeah,
we are. Push.
Well, okay, so we actually
Lamar strong enough. I mean, Jalen.
Oh yeah. We had that in. We ran that numerous times last year. Okay. Now I'm not going to say we ran it as well as Philadelphia because they were ridiculously good at it. But that was the call in the Bengals game. That's what we were doing, and we made the mistake of going over the top, and that's what happened. So we learned from that. But you got to have that, man. That's a sweet play right there.
Oh, it works. As you've seen, it works like no other. But
yeah, it's not real dynamic. I mean, it's kind of like rugby, right?
100%. Yes. I got to see a lot of rugby lately, and it's great. I want to take you back into. I mean, your father's impact. Obviously, your brother. We all know your brother. Who's played a great careers at Michigan. But your father impact in 45 years of coaching. I wrote this all down. I got to give Mr. Jack Harbaugh his flowers. Western Michigan.
I love Jack Harbaugh.
Western Kentucky.
Big Jack Harbaugh fan.
And then he ended up his final year. He won the D1 AA championship. 45 years of coaching. And what has he just inspired in you, taught you? Because your whole life, majority of your life, I mean, all your life. I mean, I know how old you are. He's been coaching.
Yeah, he talks to our team. He's talking to our team this week. He's an unbelievable, incredible motivator. Him and my mom both. But I'll say one thing about a quick story. So he's always been the guy that was always positive. Like his thing was you never speak negatively about your family, your friends, your people, your team. That is you speak positive. You speak life into them. You say positive things, especially when you're talking to other people. But there were plenty of times when he let us know what wasn't acceptable, like as a dad, right? So quick story, we're in Little League, and Jim's about a year younger than me. He was playing younger league then. He was maybe 10. I was like 11. And so it's Tuesday night, I went to watch his game in Little League, and I'm standing on the fence, behind the home plate watching. And we had ridden our bikes to the game pretty much halfway across town, pretty long ride, gloves on the handlebars, bat across the deal. And we went to the game. And so my mom and dad came later when my dad got off work, and they drove the car and parked. And we're watching, and I don't know, 4th inning or so, Jim hits a pop-up, high pop-up, right? Well, what are you supposed to do when you hit a pop-up, even if you know they're going to catch it, you run it out, right? You run it out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's just what you do in baseball. Well, Jim didn't. Jim's 10, and he's frustrated, and he walks it out, right? So, that's not good. So after the game, we're walking our bikes up to the car, and I figure we're going to either ride home or maybe throw the bikes in the trunk and drive home, right? And so my dad doesn't say a word, opens up the trunk, and throws Jim's bike in. Okay? And he looks at Jim and he says, "You like walking so much? You can walk home." So,
wow.
Yeah. Okay. So
did you get a ride? Did you get a ride?
Listen, well, so I'm like thinking to myself, well, that's right. That's fair enough. That's how it should be. Then he throws my bike in the trunk, and he says, and I look at him like, what? He goes, "You're walking home too, because that's your younger brother, and he should know better. You should make sure he knows better." So we both walked home that night, and I guarantee you, we never walked out of pop-up ever again in our short baseball careers.
That is an awesome story. And again, we're going to get to full-fledged baseball in a moment, but I got to ask you two kind of bizarre questions. First of all, we're looking at your office, man. You got quite the office there. You got a beautiful flag behind you. I don't know what that picture is over your left-hand shoulder, but we saw EDC's office the other day for our last podcast. But what's the history with the flag behind you?
Well, the flag is so I got that. I think Ingrid got that for me. It's an Abraham Lincoln quote. It says, "I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him." So I thought that was appropriate for, the Ravens. And then the picture over there's the picture. That's when I was 23. My brother was friends with one of Ronald Reagan's assistant press secretaries, Mark Weinberg, and they set up a weekend. We went to Washington, and we got to meet Ronald Reagan. And it was Jim, because he was, a star. And we all got to go in there and take his hand. I'll tell you, that's an autographed picture with Ronald Reagan. And the man was just a striking, wonderful, nice man. Just a really good guy. And it affected me for the rest of my life. I thought, this is a humble person who's the president of the United States. And man, this is really, I don't know, hard to put words to it. So that's a very meaningful moment. The rest of it is just work stuff. I do have this one here. You'll like this, Jerry.
Looks like a Dollar Tree. Oh, I thought you were going to pull out the Dollar Tree there.
Oh, that's the best quote in the world right there, baby.
Got it.
Yes.
Oh,
Jerry,
yes.
You see that, Jerry?
You got the sticker off.
Take the barcode sticker off,
Take
Coach.
the barcode.
At least there's no price tag.
Greatest quote of all time.
Greatest
quote of all time.
We've got more ahead with our exclusive conversation with Ravens coach John Harbaugh. But first, let's support our dedicated sponsors who make this podcast possible, folks.
The Adam Jones Podcast with Adam Jones and Jerry Coleman will be live, and you can be part of the audience and meet Adam for the first time since he played for the O's. It all goes down on Thursday, July 27th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7, and tickets are limited, but now on sale. Go to BaltimoreSoundstage.com or Ticketmaster.com or call 410-244-0057 to be a part of the action. This will be the first time Adam and Jerry have done the podcast in the same spot, and who knows, maybe the last. So don't miss this unique night. The Adam Jones Podcast, live at Soundstage July 27th. See you there. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Be More Around Town. Be More Around Town is reminding you that football season is around the corner. Hashtag Purple Road Trip. Be More Around Town's trips are all-inclusive. Airfare, hotel parties, special guest tours, and more. They're all ready for the Ravens game in London. They have over 300 deposits. Just pack your bags, get your passport, and meet them at the airport. Besides London calling, Be More Around Town also has road trips for all away games. Arizona, LA, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincy. Head to BeMoreAroundTown.com and find a hashtag Purple Road Trip for you and your friends and family. BeMoreAroundTown.com. By our good friends at the Weinman Company. By Hollywood Casino Perryville. For some, it's a game of chance, but for you, it's a game of choice. Hollywood and Barstool are bringing you more ways to bet in Maryland. Catch all the action in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville at the Barstool Sportsbook, or bet online with the Barstool Sportsbook app. When you download the Barstool Sportsbook app, register, and wager, you can get up to $1,000 bonus cash, plus up to $1,000 when you sign up and wager in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Play from anywhere and get up to $2,000. The choice is yours. Must be in the state of Maryland to wager and over 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. By Jack Daniels, 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, that's true. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, are now both available in a can. 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, ready to drink? Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf, medical cannabis only. Visit gleaf.com. Medical cannabis is for qualified Maryland patients only. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Royal Farms. Download the Royal Farms app from the Apple App Store or Google Play today. New Royal Farms Rewards members will get a free any-size cup of Royal Farms award-winning coffee just for signing up. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast.
Hey, Justin, keep an eye on the time. It's your night to handle dinner.
No worries. Got it covered. It's great getting dinner ready with no worries. That's why I never waste time and go straight to Royal Farms. Their chicken is fresh, never frozen, hand-breaded, and cooked right in the store.
Oh, wow, this smells amazing. I'm so impressed.
Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
And a reminder, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out the Baltimore Banner at thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get started. Again, that's thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get 6 months of unlimited digital access for only $1. And now back to the Adam Jones Podcast interview with Ravens head coach John Harbaugh.
So I wanted to ask you, and this is kind of a quirky question, these owners' meetings, when you guys get together for those group pictures with the coaches, I want to know the history of that. Like, how is that organized? Is there a dress code? Is it mandatory? Because you always show up, you look nice, but I can't say that about every coach.
I feel like it's mandatory. I feel like, why wouldn't you want to be there? I mean, are you kidding me? I can remember back to 2008 when we had the first owners meeting my first time, and I didn't know like what the dress was. So I just like, I don't know. I forgot to pack kind of, and I got there with no clothes, and I was like, what are you wearing? These like Belichick, Coach Belichick. I mean, I go, Coach, I forgot to pack clothes. He looked at me like, you got no chance to be successful. You can't even pack your own bag. But he goes, shorts and a polo, you'll be fine. You know, I look back now, it's like, I'm asking Belichick for fashion advice, right? So I see that picture, and I'm in there with Bill, and I got the polo that I bought at the hotel. And now all these years later, 15 years later, I'm sitting next to Coach Belichick, Coach Reed, Coach Carroll. We were kind of in a row this year. And, I promise you, to me, it's like the most meaningful thing because it's just a little bit of a moment to say, wow, this is elite company. This is kind of high cotton that you're walking in right here. And you're kind of proud of that a little bit.
I want to ask about that too. Follow up with that. Yeah, it's you being one of 32. And obviously you see the fluctuation of head coaches every year. There's always 5, 6, 7, 8 that go. You, Tomlin, Belichick, Reed, you guys have had your jobs for a long time. First off, what's the success into that? And the prideful and poke your chest out, Coach. No one gets to do something great for so long without being great. Yeah. It's impossible.
It's meaningful.
Poke your chest out.
Well, right in our division, like to me, it keeps you humble because you got Mike Tomlin right over there. And that, he told me a few years back, he said, you and I, our names will be tied together forever in football history. And it's true. And I think I couldn't be more honored than to have my name tied next to someone as great as Mike Tomlin. And then even the coaches in our division, I mean, these two young guys they're tough as heck to go against. So all that is exactly right. But I remember back when I first was here and someone asked me, how do you plan on keeping the job? And it was really an easy answer for me. It came right to me because, Jerry, you remember we were fighting all the battles and kind of changing the culture here in a lot of ways. And I remember I just said, just spit it right out, I'm not trying to keep the job. I'm trying to do the job. And I feel like that's the thing. If you try to do the job as well as you can to the best of your ability, in the end, it gives you the best chance to keep the job. But you're never trying to keep a job. Jobs don't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. You just want to be able to look back and say you did the job, the right way with integrity as well as you possibly could, treated people the right way, worked as hard as you could. And then, you know what, let the chips fall, really.
Let's turn our attention to baseball. We promised we were going to talk about that. Now, you talked about having to walk home as a kid. I guess this was Little League, but what position did you play, and how did you really get acclimated to the game of baseball, and where did it fit in terms of your favorite sports, of course, after football?
Well, baseball was first because, when you grow up in our area, you played Little League baseball. And my dad's a huge baseball fan. He was a Cleveland fan, the Cleveland Indians, dare I say, now the Guardians. So, we kind of grew up with that. Then we were in Michigan. We became big Tigers fans because Gates Brown was the Tigers' the all-time leading pinch hit leader for many years. He played high school football and baseball and basketball with my dad, and they were best friends in high school. So, we went there 4, 5, 6 times a year. Afterwards, the Gator would take my dad and his 2 little boys to Willie Horton's bar in Detroit, and we'd be hanging out with the guys, kind of, I guess. And we'd be over there playing shuffleboard and stuff like that. And just like, man, I mean, it was like Gates Brown was our hero. And so baseball for us, that was it, man. We started off in baseball. And I was, I started off my first year, they put me at first base because I could catch like at 7 years old. And then you ended up being a shortstop for most of the time. Then when I got into high school, my arm, man, I could not throw. It's like, what happened to my arm? It's just like I couldn't get it over there. Yeah, I definitely couldn't go over here and get it back over there. No shot. So they moved me to second, and then I ended up playing in the outfield, okay? And I was a pretty good hitter, lefty, all conference, right? Pretty decent. So when I was playing golf with Buck like 5 years ago, I had my golf club out, and I showed him my swing, okay? Lefty. Throw right, bat left. And I swung. I said, Buck, what do you think? Gave him my swing, and he looked at it, he just shook his head. He goes, low and inside, you got no shot. We'll strike you out all day long. That's what happened to me. That's what drove me out. I couldn't hit an inside hit. He goes, your swing is too long. You got to make it more compact.
I want to take you back to Michigan. 84
you
was.
have no interest in my baseball career, Adam.
I do, but I mean, it was slight. but your love for the game has been lifetime. Right. So I want to take you back to the 84 World Series, which it's a year before I was born. It still hurts me because I was born in this. I wasn't even conceived yet because the World Series was over. Of 84, the Padres, but it still hurts me. Padres, Tigers. Alan Trammell. My mom went to high school with Alan Trammell.
Wow.
Great shortstop. And what you remember of Bob Fidrich, one of your favorite players of all time? I did my homework on
Mark the Bird Fidrich. That's right. We should mention he was part of a special on the Baseball Network.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And, what do you remember about your childhood with the Tigers? I mean, and from there to now, as obviously Detroit has went from one of the great metropolitans to one of the desolate metropolitans.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we grew up watching. My wife is from Redford, which is Detroit. She went to Redford Union High School. Great track star, man. She was a great track runner there, and she's a big Tigers fan too. So yeah, we grew up with Sweet Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell and Parrish and Chet Lemon, Herndon. It was like that was it, and like we had the connection to, as I said, to Gates Brown. So, that was big. And then, the Bird in 76, that was we were just kind of coming of age. My brother used to pitch like the Bird. So he did the Bird. He talked to the ball. He went down and patted the mound around and everything. So he was the Bird for a year. Then the next year is Mad Al Herboski. Whoever the craziest pitcher was, that's who he imitated. But, that's what you do when you're a kid. You imitate baseball players. So that was what it was about. Then Ingrid, my wife, she's still a hardcore Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons fan. She's not a Lions fan, thank God. But she's hardcore for all those other teams, and especially the Tigers. Her dad took her to a game, and they usually sat like way up in the bleachers, but for some reason this game they had good seats. And so they were walking in and they just started playing. She's 7 years old and they start playing the national anthem. So she has to stop. And she was separated from her dad like by a couple steps. And so she's standing there and she's kind of by herself and her dad stopped too. And this older gentleman like grabbed her hand during the national anthem, who was sitting on the end of the aisle. And they stood through the national anthem. She had her hand on her chest. And then the gentleman stood down and he said something to her, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name is Hank Greenberg." And my father-in-law, Ingrid's dad, says he was in tears, just bawling. And Hank Greenberg signed an autograph for her back then. So that's when she got completely hooked on baseball at 7 years old. And she was a shortstop. She was way better than me and Jim at baseball and softball, I promise you. She had a rocket coming across. I saw her play when we first met. So there's the athlete in the family. But that's how it started off, Adam, with Detroit, kind of for us and then also for my wife. So it kind of all tied together.
That's a great background.
That's how people's baseball stories are, though, right? They're just
True.
meaningful, like Field of Dreams, that's how baseball is, right?
For sure.
It's like real,
Yeah.
But you guys, it's like a game. So so my terrible career, we went out to Palo Alto and I made the American Legion team. It was going into my freshman year in college. Palo Alto American Legion team was great. Bob Melvin was the catcher the year before. Every guy in the team was either going to play minor league baseball or they were going to get a college scholarship. And I made the team because I was an okay hitter, but I had a rag for an arm. And then this guy named Carlos Moton told me, he goes, like, we're in warm-ups, he goes, "You got a rag." I'm like, "What? He goes, "A rag." I go, "What do you mean a rag?" He goes, I'm like, "Rag." He goes, "Your arm, you cannot throw." I was like, well, that's right. He was going to Hawaii to play, So my point is like real ball players that really can play. That and that was just guys who were going to play college baseball or whatever. Guys at the AAA and the majors, like these guys are so legit. Playing baseball, hitting a baseball, the skills that go with that, it's crazy how good you got to be to make it in baseball.
No doubt about it. I don't know how much you watch of today's game, but whether you're watching the Orioles or another team, how about these rule changes where they've sped up the game? Do you like some of these rule changes and what they've done to try and make it more appealing, as they say, Coach, to the kids?
As a fan, I have to admit, I like the game going a little faster, to be honest with you. I can't lie about that. But it's supposed to be a timeless game. So, I do feel kind of weird about that, too. What do you think, Adam?
It's sped up the game. I work for the league now, so I'm supposed to say everything good. But no, I think it's sped up the game. I think there's obviously going to be some rule changes and some tinkering to it as you get more data. But I think right now the average fan is incredibly happy with how fast games are. The alcoholics aren't necessarily as happy because beer, you go get a beer and you're missing could be 2 innings, just how fast things happen. But I think the casual fan with taking his kid on a night game, and I love how the Orioles have switched a lot of games to 6:30. Those 30 minutes matter, especially when you end the game at 9 o'clock, opposed to previously games are in at 10:30, 11. That's a big difference as a father, keeping kids up. So I think so far it's good. I think postseason it's gonna have to tinker because I've never met a fan that's ever cared about how long a postseason game is. They want their team to win. They don't care what it takes all night. They don't care.
That's a good point. I can see that. Yeah.
So I want to ask you about just city impact in Baltimore. When you came to Baltimore, it was a football town. Let's just be honest. Baseball has revived itself. The Orioles have got off to a solid start for the first couple months. It's been great for the city. 2012, with both, you guys winning the Super Bowl. We're getting to the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. 14, we're back in there. We're a stretch where we're both just nipping at the bud. As a coach, as someone who sees everything, special teams coach, you see everybody, you see it all. The impact of the city when we're both good, opposed to when just one is good. Well, when just you guys are good. It's never been a chance when it's just the Orioles have been good.
I think it's big. I mean, you come to fall in love with the city, like we do a lot of things down in the city. Park Heights and some other areas that we just as where we know people. This city's got so many good people, so many really, really, really good people that love the Orioles and love the Ravens. You know, it's a small town, kind of comparatively, and these are the two teams, man. They just love both teams. They want to see both teams do well. And to me, like when both teams are doing well, it's good for both teams. There should never be a rivalry between the Ravens and the Orioles. I know historically there's been a couple, but I think it's way better now for whatever reason. That's kind of maybe since I first got here, I don't know, but I think we root for each other because it's like having gas stations or fast food stores on opposite corners. You want them both to be thriving. You know, you want people coming to that corner for business. We want people to be excited about sports in Baltimore because that helps us both, you know, and it's more fun for us. Like I love to go to Orioles games. I love baseball games. I like to watch them on TV. They're so much fun to watch right now just because of the way they play. I think Brandon Hyde's done an amazing job. I love the style, the young players, the speed, the pitching is really doing well. I mean, they can knock it out of the park at any time. It's just a fun team to watch. So I know it's good for us, and I'm just excited about it. But really more for the city, to your point, Adam, is like we got to keep working. We got to keep working to find solutions down there. We got to keep working to drive investment down there, to bring opportunity down there, business opportunity, things like that, to make it safe for people to want to go down there, you know, to tie together economically the county, the city, Howard County, Baltimore County, and Baltimore City. Man, we got to bring it all together because we're one region and we got to be a team, you know. And I just hope that Mayor Scott and everybody else, I know they want to do it, and I hope we can try to help any way we can. But if the Ravens and the Orioles, whatever we can do to help, I think you're right. We're a big part of that.
All right, here are the words you've been waiting for, Coach. This is the last question. And basically, it deals with the kinship you have had. Not only you mentioned Buck Showalter, but also Brandon Hyde. I mean, a lot of people think, you know, you guys go in different circles, but no, you have a relationship with the Orioles manager. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, we talk a lot. You know, we text a lot because that's what you do nowadays, and we talk sometimes. Congratulations a lot of times, but also I've had a couple of things where things have come up, and I've asked his advice. You know, what he thinks, and you know, sometimes we'll just get into those conversations, and we keep talking about getting out and playing golf, but we're both pretty busy. But I have found, Adam, baseball players are better golfers than football players. You guys just got you know how to release the club and all that. And I've heard he's really a good golfer. So I'm like, I don't know if I need to go out there and get beat. So yes. Maybe we'll just go to dinner or something. It's like,
a lot of coaches play, you know, because he came up as a first base coach. So they didn't come up making all the money, but knew all the guys. So he got to golf with all the big dogs on all the big courses, have all the good cigars. Yeah. So, yeah, he can play.
He can play.
He can play.
Yeah. Don't get into a gambling episode with a baseball golf playing person. Yeah. Not do it. Hey, Coach, we could thank you 1,000 times for coming on. It wouldn't be enough, but very grateful for you taking all this time for us. And it's been a distinct. It's our pleasure. It's our privilege.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure and privilege and honor too. I got so much respect for you, Jerry, absolutely, because you tell it like it is, and Adam, for you as well. I mean, just what you've done and the friend you've been to us too, man. You come out to practice, you have relationships with the players and the coaches. Like I said, you've been in the tunnel, you've been in the locker room after big wins. It means a lot, you know. And so don't stop. Come around.
I will. Man. I'll see you in London. I will be in London.
You got it. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks again, Coach. Best of luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
We're in episode 2. I mean, this was a 2-parter with Coach Harbaugh. He spent so much time. We got a tour of his office, for heck's sake. But he also got into baseball, and some interesting stories untold there as well.
I mean, he watches. That's the best thing. That's the beauty. And I remember our relationship growing, not just mine, but obviously with Bucks and, you know, the heads of the organizations in 2012 when we started to become relevant in the city and started to get more notice, get a little bit more fans. And it's been great ever since. And Coach Harbaugh has just been the best. And again, he's paying attention. He's watching. And when baseball is great in the city of Baltimore, obviously football is going to be a juggernaut and be great. The city moves. Let's get a basketball team there, but the city moves when you have baseball good, and it's great that he's paying attention. I'm sure other coaches are too. You see a lot of players at games now, obviously randomly. They have such a crazy schedule with families and all that, but it's just good when you support each other. Obviously, football games, it's easier to go to a Sunday football game to go to a lot of baseball games, but it's great when each other support each other, and I'm great to be a part of that.
Well, I don't know what else to say, Adam. I mean, first EDC, who was awesome. Coach Harbaugh was excellent. I think there was a lot of groundbreaking news in there, especially about the Lamar episode and some of the other stories he told about his childhood. Maybe our best podcast yet. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I had to go to my notes, and I had to take real notes on Coach. Interesting, very interesting. Got to tell some great stories. Been around a lot of different sports, a lot of different guys. And like I said, being a special teams coach, he is a personnel magnet, and that's what Elias is. You know what I mean? It's like the scout of everybody, and he knows everybody's everything. So, just a great time getting to hear his stories and just hear his side of everything. And again, we want the Ravens to go as far as possible. Obviously, that means holding up the Lombardi Trophy. So we'll see them in London, and hopefully they hold up the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.
Well, here in episode 2, I mean, this was a two-parter with Coach Harbaugh. He spent so much time. We got a tour of his office, for heck's sake. But he also got into baseball, and some interesting stories untold there as well.
I mean, he watches. That's the best thing. That's the beauty. And I remember our relationship growing, not just mine, but obviously with Bucks and the heads of the organizations in 2012, when we started to become relevant in the city and started to get more notice, get a little bit more fans. And no, it's been great ever since. And Coach Harbaugh has just been just the best. And again, he's paying attention, he's watching. And when baseball is great in the city of Baltimore, obviously football is going to be a juggernaut and be great. The city moves. Let's get a basketball team there, but the city moves when you have baseball good, and it's great that he's paying attention. I'm sure other coaches are too. You see a lot of players at games now, obviously randomly. They have such a crazy schedule with families and all that, but it's just good when you support each other. Obviously, football games, it's easier to go to a Sunday football game to go to a lot of baseball games, but it's great when each other support each other, and I'm great to be a part of that.
And there's a reason Coach Harbaugh is now the third longest tenured coach in the National Football League.
100%. Yep.
Adam, so much to cover with the coach. It just leaves us time for another edition of Socially Speaking, where, of course, we answer a tweet, Facebook post, or Instagram post, or something on Apple Podcasts. Again, rate us 5 stars, and you qualify for a Miss Shirley's gift card. That increases your chances, especially if you show us the evidence. Anyway, this week's correspondence comes from at GT Money 38. Love some of these handles. And he asked, Adam, he responded to your question sticker you posted, and you interact for sure on social media. But he asked, in the future, do you see yourself coaching baseball?
I never say never. I've learned that. Never say no. Just say you think about it. Give me options. I think a good thing that right now I'm in a position of options. But I'll say never. I think at this point, no. I can say no right now because my kids are young. It's amazing to be around my family when they're so young. And we can travel, we can move all over the place. I'm enjoying that. But for me to be, an exec, to ownership, or something like that, you know what I mean? But I for some reason, I don't think the day-to-day of coaching it's tough. It's rigorous. It's tough on the families. It's tougher than playing baseball because, the coaches are there before us, the coaches are there after us. So I think right now, no to that. But in the future, you never know. But to be an exec where, I can wear my khakis, I can wear my Jordans, and I can just in my dunks and whatever, and I can just, roam around, say what's up to the guys, have some influence, sup here and there. That's something right there that I'll say yes to now because it gets me out the house. I can take my golf clubs. I can golf during the morning, go do my, interact at night. And be around the game still. So, but the coach, now I'd say no. In the future, I say never. You never know. So that's my answer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, not as great as being an ambassador for MLB.
So I'm talking about mainly the ass of it. You know what I mean?
A little accentuation there. All right. We do want to thank our sponsors who have supported us from day one. They make this podcast possible. Let's salute them.
The Adam Jones Podcast with Adam Jones and Jerry Coleman will be live, and you can be part of the audience and meet Adam for the first time since he played for the O's. It all goes down on Thursday, July 27th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7, and tickets are limited but now on sale. Go to BaltimoreSoundstage.com or Ticketmaster.com or call 410-244-0057 to be a part of the action. This will be the first time Adam and Jerry have done the podcast in the same spot, and who knows, maybe the last. So don't miss this unique night. The Adam Jones Podcast, live at Soundstage July 27th. See you there. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Be More Around Town. Be More Around Town is reminding you that football season is around the corner. Hashtag Purple Road Trip. Be More Around Town's trips are all-inclusive. Airfare, hotel parties, special guest tours, and more. They're all ready for the Ravens game in London. They have over 300 deposits. Just pack your bags, get your passport, and meet them at the airport. Besides London calling, Be More Around Town also has road trips for all away games. Arizona, LA, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincy. Head to BeMoreAroundTown.com and find a hashtag Purple Road Trip for you and your friends and family. BeMoreAroundTown.com. By our good friends at the Weinman Company. By Hollywood Casino Perryville. For some, it's a game of chance, but for you, it's a game of choice. Hollywood and Barstool are bringing you more ways to bet in Maryland. Catch all the action in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville at the Barstool Sportsbook, or bet online with the Barstool Sportsbook app. When you download the Barstool Sportsbook app, register, and wager, you can get up to $1,000 bonus cash, plus up to $1,000 when you sign up and wager in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Play from anywhere and get up to $2,000. The choice is yours. Must be in the state of Maryland to wager and over 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. By Jack Daniel's, 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, that's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, are now both available in a can. 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, ready to drink? Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf, medical cannabis only. Visit gleaf.com. Medical cannabis is for qualified Maryland patients only. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Royal Farms. Download the Royal Farms app from the Apple App Store or Google Play today. New Royal Farms Rewards members will get a free any-size cup of Royal Farms award-winning coffee just for signing up. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast.
Hey, Justin, keep an eye on the time. It's your night to handle dinner.
No worries. Got it covered. It's great getting dinner ready with no worries. That's why I never waste time and go straight to Royal Farms. Their chicken is fresh, never frozen, hand-breaded, and cooked right in the store.
Oh, wow, this smells amazing. I'm so impressed.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
And a reminder, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out the Baltimore Banner at thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get started. Again, that's thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get 6 months of unlimited digital access for only $1.
Much gratitude to senior executive producer Chip Franklin for putting this episode together. He works hard 24/7. He's always open, unless don't call him at nights, but deals with all our shenanigans. So we appreciate that. Go out and subscribe to the Banner. Tell a friend or family member about this podcast. Be real, be kind, and as always, make sure to be back for another episode next week on the Adam Jones Podcast.